Hope you're well today. It is April 30th, and it's April 30th. Our reading today comes from 2 Samuel chapters 20, 21, as well as Psalm 7. We're really just going to be looking in chapter 20 today, looking at, frankly, a fairly disgusting account, but it's not boring. It is the rebellion of someone named Sheba. Verse 1. There's a rebel a Benjamite, you might remember what happened to Benjamin up at the end of Judges. They just about got wiped off the map. But anyway, he was a Benjamite, blows trumpet. We have no share in David, nor do we have inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tent. So every man of Israel deserted David. That ain't good. So David's having to deal with rebellion again. So Joab, the commander of the army, starts going after this fella, and they come to the place. He ends up fleeing to a certain place, Abel and Beth Matcha, however you pronounce that. You know how I'm horrible at pronouncing names, but anyway, they come there. They besiege him in that town, and all the people who are with Joab battered the wall to throw it down. A wise woman cries out from the city, and she says, "Hear, hear! Please say to Joab, come nearby, that I may speak with you." And so Joab comes over and says, "What's going on?" And she says they used to talk in former times about how people would seek guidance here. And she says, "I am among the peaceable and faithful in Israel. You seek to destroy a city and a mother in Israel. Why would you swallow up the inheritance of the Lord?" Joab answered, "Far be it from me that I would do such a thing." And he says, "This is what's going on. That a man from the mountains of Ephraim, Sheba, has done this. He's raised his hand against the king. He's rebelled. Deliver him only, and I will depart from the city." So the woman said to Joab, "Watch, his head will be thrown to you over the wall." And then the woman, in her wisdom, went to all the people, and they cut off the head of Sheba, the son of Bichri, and threw it out to Joab. And then he blew a trumpet, and they withdrew from the city, every man to his tent. Okay, so why did they do this? Well, it's pretty obvious. And first thing is, he was guilty. He was a rebel. He was a ne'er-do-well. That's what he was. And so he was guilty. Why did they turn him loose? Because he was guilty. Do you remember why Benjamin about got wiped off the map before, like I said at the end of Judges? Because they wouldn't turn loose of someone. They wouldn't turn loose of sinners. That's what they almost got destroyed for. So why this woman, right? As there's a siege going on, and they're about to get wiped off the map, and that's our second point. The reason they did this was for their own sake. Why do you purge out the leaven? Because the leaven leavens the whole lump, right? Why do you cut them off? Because if you don't, you're probably going to go down with them. And that's what this woman realizes in her wisdom, right? That's what it says. In her wisdom, went to all the people, and they cut off the head of this fellow and chuck it over the wall. He was guilty. And for their own sake and safety, they do this deed. What all this goes to is, why do you reject a divisive man? Because that's what this fellow is. He's a divisive man. He's a heretic. He's trying to divide up Israel. People are following him and others are following David. That's what's going on. And Joab says, "Nope, not putting up with this." And the woman in her wisdom goes to the people, and they say, "Hold on, you'll have what you came looking for shortly." And they toss it over the side of the wall. Why do you reject a divisive man? And it's because of this. It's because they are guilty. And you're not going to partake of it with them. You're not going to have fellowship with them. And so here, for their own sake, for their own safety, they do the deed. It's not pretty. It's not pleasant. It's not fun. No one enjoys it. But you have to reject a divisive man. And here they did it in this certain way. And Joab had his head. And he goes back home, and the people go on and go about their business. So make the application to today, because the verse, "reject a divisive man," after the first, second admonition, that's a New Testament verse. So appreciate you studying along with us as we think about these things. Hope you join us for our next brief look into God's Word.